Another one from Buttons Moynihan says conspiracy theory is the great American pastime. Even if these are lies, we have the right to engage. That is true, and it's this, but that's again as an elitist viewpoint of people, which is you're not believing the right things, therefore we should control you because you're so dumb. You're not. You're apt to believe
Yeah.
dumb conspiracy theories, and the truth is, I mean I saw a meme about this the other day, but it's just true. It's funny. It's right. Okay, so the deep state agencies like the CIA and whatever, right? They get caught lying and doing bad things in the 50s. They get caught lying and doing bad things in the 60s. They get caught lying and doing bad things in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. Nothing has changed, and we're supposed to believe that they're not lying and doing bad things now. What's the like? That's
Yeah.
just kind of idiocy. Like we know that deep state agencies, and I'm using the word deep state not to be conspiracy theory, but just the entrenched bureaucracy. We know they lie and do bad things and get away with a lot, and nothing has changed. There's been no reform.
So
So why would there be a
we
change?
should. Why would there be a change? I shared this morning because I thought of it with all the censorship that's going on from Big Social in advance of the election. And if you guys haven't seen it, we covered this back when it happened, but you should go and watch on YouTube. Find Dr. Robert Epstein's testimony before
Yes.
Congress. And Robert
Let's get him
Epstein
on
is
before the
not.
election if we can. I'm going to reach out to him. Sorry.
Make a note. So
I said
Dr.
that
Robert
part out loud.
Epstein is Dr. Robert Epstein is not politically motivated. He voted for Clinton. He was very vocally supportive of Clinton, but he testified before Congress that social media, based on his analysis, social media swayed at least 6 million votes through manipulation of algorithms, influencing voters' opinions based on what news they let you see, based on algorithms for search results and what actually comes up when you're looking for something, based on giving you the information they want you to see. And then he also said during his testimony that they were ramping it up because he said, they were overconfident in 2016. Zuckerberg, if he
He
wanted
said,
to,
didn't they do
he
like
said he could
10.2
have.
million votes towards
He's
Hillary in 2016?
I think he said at least 6 million.
I thought it was
Go look
10.
it up.
Okay.
But he said for here, just let me finish this part.
Sorry.
I'm losing track. He said that they swayed at least 6 million, from what I recall, and he said they were overly confident in 2016, and that Zuckerberg could have, if he had wanted to, and we don't know if he did. Maybe he did because there's no oversight. But if he had wanted to, he could have sent out, for example, a reminder to go vote just to Democrats. And if he had done that, he would have gotten around, I think, 800,000 something number of additional people to go vote that day. And we know he said, I can extrapolate the numbers of people that would be influenced by such a message because Facebook did in 2010 a test
Right.
where they sent out a go vote reminder to everyone, and then they calculated how many additional people they got to the polls. And so if they choose to just selectively target people based on political affiliation, they could also sway directly how many people turn out. But aside from the ability to do that, they are manipulating us in all the ways that you talked about at the beginning, Carter. They're manipulating us by what news they allow us to see, what shows up in our feeds, who they shadow ban, what people they've permanently taken off of their platforms. Think about all the big influencers and new media people like
Gavin,
Milo,
Milo, even
Gavin
small ones
McGinnis,
like Mikey Harlow, who was in our chat.
Mike Harlow, all the people that were influential in 2016 who they silenced on purpose. Alex Jones, they
Oh, yeah,
silenced
huge
him.
one.
You can't find these people on Big Social now. And yeah, they still have their own sites and stuff, but if you think that didn't cut into the amount of influence they have in the public sphere, you're wrong. And they started doing it purposefully because they were shocked. They were shocked that Trump won in 2016. So watch the Robert Epstein testimony. Watch the Google video. There's two Google videos you should watch. Watch the one of all the employees after the election, where it's all the Google employees and they're on stage like crying and talking about how, as a company, how are we going to make
Yeah.
sure this doesn't happen again? They
I
were
think that was one
shocked.
of
You
our
can
first
see,
unsafe space videos was the Google
yeah,
video. Yeah.
you can see the shock on their faces, and you can see them talking about how they're going to comfort and counsel the Google employees who are so upset by the election results, and how are they as a company going to address this going forward. Watch that Google video. Then watch, here's the third one I'm going to recommend. Watch the Project Veritas hidden camera video with the Google executive who admits on camera that since 2016, Google has taken it as their priority and their job to quote, well, I shouldn't say quote because I'm going to paraphrase, but she says to make sure that a Trump situation doesn't happen again.
Right.
That they took that as their job because they view themselves as our intellectual and moral betters. That we are stupid sheep, that we need to be told how to vote, and that they are going to do everything in their power with their unlimited power of social media to influence us. Watch
Yep.
those 3 videos.
Yep. Yep. And by the way, another one that someone in chat mentioned, but I can't believe I forgot of, was Molyneux was banned from Twitter as well. Yeah. I mean, all these
Oh,
people,
yeah.
right? And he wasn't banned. Interestingly enough, Molyneux's been around for, I don't know, 10, 12 years. He's always been, the stuff he's been saying has always been controversial in many senses. I don't think he's changed his conversation very much, but he got political. He got political. He started talking about politics, and I think that's what did it. I think that was it. They were like, okay, you can have your opinions, but don't start talking about politics. Of course, they blamed it on something else, I'm sure, but yeah, we'll try and get Robert Epstein on. I'm not sure he'll join, but by the way, the thing about Silicon Valley, they are very smart. Like, the people building this stuff they're very intelligent. Like, this isn't a case of dummies doing stuff. They're very intelligent. They recruit from Stanford and MIT and Berkeley. These are not dumb people at all.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
if I had the smartest people I know in the world, most of them are living in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
I mean, and some of those are radical, well, by default, leftists. But it's not an intelligence question. And when they get in that mindset, which they have been in for the past, 20 years, 15 years, maybe we'll say 10, 15 years, they've been in this mindset of manipulating humans. I don't think they even started teaching that mindset with the intention to do bad things. They didn't think about it as manipulating humans in a real sense. They just thought of it as like, well, we need to get them to use our app to do this and to do that. And like, that became part of the mindset. So thinking about what motivates humans and how to manipulate them to get them to do what you want is ingrained in part of the culture of Silicon Valley tech. That's part of the culture. So it's a very short leap to go from thinking of humans as users whom you are trying to get to click on things. It's a very small leap to go from that to, well, we're manipulating them in general for their own good. Right? Like,
Yeah.
it's a dehumanization tactic, actually. Right? And I don't think it was even meant as a dehumanization tactic, but it's a mindset that you get in Silicon Valley, which is like, well, this is how we get users to do what we want. We measure this, we do this, we respond in these ways. This is how they do it. We, feed it into these algorithms. We figure out how to manipulate them. But now you're thinking of humans as a puppy to train in a certain way. That's how you think of humans.
Yeah.
You think of them as animals to train. And once you're thinking of them in that way, again, I don't think for nefarious reasons at first, it becomes very easy to extend that to politics. So if humans over here, if the deplorables are saying things that don't comport with your understanding of reality because you live in San Francisco and everyone's a leftist, well, it must be that there's something wrong with these humans over here. They must be, someone else must be manipulating. They must be Russians, right? And so you've got to counter the manipulation of them. Right? So it's almost like there's a competitor out there that's manipulating them in the wrong way. They do not think of humans as having free will. They think of humans as black box algorithms that needs to be deconstructed so that they can get them to behave in the way they want. So they know what inputs stimulate what outputs. That's how they think about humans. They don't think about them as people with free will. Again, not in an evil Machiavellian sense. It's just That's how they think about human beings, and then that can get applied to all this other stuff, which is uh, where it gets really, really
And
scary.
it's like it goes back to that Plato quote that we've read before. Plato said, "This and no other is the root from which a tyrant springs. When he first appears, he is a protector." I have no doubt that a lot of these people who are pushing this in big social and in legacy media view themselves as somehow being America's protectors.
Oh,
That
absolutely, they
the
do.
that
Yeah,
the public can't be trusted. We can't be trusted. They view themselves as, again, as I said, not to belabor it, but they view themselves as intellectually and morally superior, and they think that they know what's best.
they're
And
Plato's
I think a
philosopher
lot of
kings.
them,
Yeah,
yeah, a lot of them are like, well, okay, it's okay for us to censor and manipulate and push propaganda and try and force the outcome we want because we're doing it for these poor dumb animals' betterment. They don't understand. These poor dumb animals are going to vote for the wrong person if we don't shepherd this the way we want it to go.
and I
You
think they
should be
justify it
very,
by
very, but
yeah,
you should be very, 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 very aware of this kind of dark desire or dark willingness to accept dark methods in yourself. If you've, because I'm sure we've all felt something like this in ourselves, where we try and justify something that's wrong because we think the outcome is good, and it's a dark path. Once you've decided, it's okay to censor, it's okay to do this, it's okay to tell this lie, it's okay to, because this my intent is good. Oh, you're on a dangerous path
yeah,
now.
and I think part of the justification, by the way, I really believe this. I think they, well, you can see it in this social dilemma movie. Um, as much as everyone that watches this show probably recognizes the inanity of the Russia collusion narrative and Russia hacked our elections, they believe that. They believe that Russian interference is responsible. They believe that people like Alex Jones and what they would call crazy conspiracy theorists and the Russians propagated fake news on Facebook, and that's why you dumb people voted for Trump. They honestly believe that wholeheartedly. So when they think about, well, we need to push things towards Biden and censor this and blah, 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 they think they're balancing the scales. They
Yeah.
think that there's a bias against the good people, the Bidens and the Hillarys, and that there's a bias towards the bad people, the Trumps. And so they're trying to even the playing field in their mind. They really believe this. Most of these people, Jack Dorsey may be an exception, but most of these people don't believe that they are trying to manipulate you in any bad way. They feel like they're just fixing someone else's manipulation. You are being manipulated by fake news people, including Russians. We have to fix it for you because you're being duped. That's how they view this. That is scary because that gives them the moral justification to do everything they're doing.
To do everything they're doing. Yeah, they believe it. I know we've got to get to super chats, so we're
Yeah.
never going to get through them. But
Sorry.
really quickly, since you mentioned the documentary, "The Plot Against the President," I went and watched it,
Oh,
and
you watched it?
I can't
It's good, right?
I can't recommend it enough. So all of you guys go out. I would say of all the documentaries I've watched in the past couple years, it's in my top three. I'd say right along with Hoaxed and Uncle Tom. Go watch "The Plot Against the President." And much like the conversation we're having about this, it's not even really about Trump. I don't care what you think of Trump. It's about our intelligence agencies colluding with our legacy media and with big social to push propaganda on the American people. That's what it's about. And it's terrifying.